you now. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we're not doing any revision. This is just going to be a 20-minute Q&A session where if you have any questions you can ask, but mainly I just want to give you some tips. And so this is a Q&A session, so it's not going to be long, so we're going to be at 20 minutes, so 10 to then we're done. What's happening? So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm also going to share some tips from my book, my guide, where I do share some exam tips. But if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the summary. So this is basically just a chapter. Let me see. I think it's chapter number 3. I'm just going to give you some of the exam tips that I do share in my in my book. But if you have any questions, I'm going to read here. But it's no math questions in terms of can you explain this? Can you explain this? We're not going to do that today. Tomorrow we're going to start working on paper 2. Tomorrow and Saturday. Tomorrow is Friday and Saturday. Yeah, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points that I do share in this chapter of my book, where I give more tips on how to score just pass math, a success guide for parents and students. So tip number 1 is, or bullet point number 1 is, limit your fluid intake during and before exams, especially if you have a weak bladder. So obviously all the stuff that I share is stuff that happened to me. Some of them are general tips that you're supposed to know when you apply, when you write your exams. Okay, so there was this one time when I consume, water is very good for the brain. It's the best way to get oxygen into your brain, but you don't want to drink too much fluid before you write exams, especially if you have a weak bladder. So then you're going to run to the toilet on a continuous basis. And also don't take anything weird, because you don't know what's going to happen to your stomach. It might upset your stomach. I always see it as, I've learned this in a hard way, not maybe on school, but in a marathon where I took something, not a marathon, it was in a short race, where I took something that my stomach was not used to it. So then I had to run to the toilet a few times, or bushes and stuff. Yeah, so I forgot now to ask as well. So make sure that you double tap the screen and share this live, because it's just going to be 20 minutes. So 5 o'clock, yeah, we're going to be done. But 5 o'clock, yeah, because I have to be somewhere else. So if you have questions, not specifically math based, you can ask. And also, this is not one of the sessions where you're going to ask me, question 5 and how do I do it? No. It's just general advice. General ones, okay? You're going to do nothing on paper. The second point is always revise your work. Even if you feel that you don't understand the work, never give up. So yeah, so obviously I'm going to get to that point where I want to talk about sleep as well, and rest. But you want to revise enough. You probably have enough time now. I'm not sure about your schedule to work through maybe 1.5 question paper, because a question paper is usually 3 hours. That you want to work through, okay? So if you start now, you'll be finished 7 o'clock or 7:30 or 8 o'clock. But we're going to talk about rest. But you have enough time to work through 1 more question paper or 2 more question papers, depending where you school and traveling. But I'm going to get to that point where I'm going to talk about you need to be well rested, okay? And also, yeah, never give up. Working through question paper, I remember there was I'm not sure what grade it was, but it wasn't 12, it was somewhere before 12, where I had a really bad math and science teacher, and the science teacher was really bad, but I was really depressed. And he was explaining stuff, but I couldn't get it, and it was impossible for me to get a mentor, and there was no access to internet. That's all that. I didn't have access to internet. There was just textbooks, but it was obviously a lot. And but the night before my exams, I went through a question paper, and lo and behold, it was exactly the same question paper. But remember, I'm not saying that yes, if you work through this question paper, it's going to be in tomorrow's paper. Okay, so here we have Kelsey saying I did 21 papers. Wow, well, so you're ready for tomorrow. And then which year would you recommend we practice with? No, so just as I've said now, you can't work through one. It's rare that you're going to see a question that's exactly the same for math in school. But I think it was 18. I think it was simultaneous equations. I'm not sure where. I think it was question 1.2 or something. It was 18 and 21. It was 18 and the year 20 was the same question, but it's rare that you get it. Then someone else is saying, I wish I wish I had your hair. Yeah, it took me quite a while to grow it. Okay, so that's one point. And then arrive early and properly, prepare yourself mentally properly. Of course, you have to prepare yourself properly. Calculator, enough pens. If you can get 2 calculators, but if you can get another one, you never know what happens to the battery life of one battery. Because I have a few calculators. Like a calculator, I'm not saying go buy another one if you can get the extra ones, obviously with the same functions and stuff. I always took 2 calculators with, because you never know. I know there was once or twice where I had to ask a teacher or whatever the case may be. But if you can, take another calculator. Okay, so you want to prepare yourself mentally properly. Okay, so it's probably I'm probably exaggerating when I'm going to say yes, you must be positive, and all of those positive vibes, and yes, you must be positive, but obviously a bit of nerves is also going to kick in. Someone else is saying I just slapped the back on the calculator. That's what I do with this one. I'm done buying calculators, by the way. This is what I do with this one, because sometimes you don't want to switch on, okay? So it does work. Sometimes I also do this. But tomorrow, when you hear that in exam, then you know, oh, shit, that one is in trouble. Okay, so Akib 77 is saying, can't wait for it. Yes, me too. So prepare yourself mentally, properly, prepare yourself and mentally, okay? Prepare yourself to avoid crunch time. Obviously, this is something that earlier in my book that I talk about, where you want to work through enough papers, because now you don't want to crunch in a lot of stuff, because it's going to affect the stuff that you actually already know. You're going to confuse yourself. You're going to wonder, okay, is it right, and why is it not working now? So you want to avoid that, avoid crunch time. And then next point is hesitating to answer a question takes time. Yes, so most of the times, or sometimes, when you work through a question, the first one, and then you spend too much time on the first one, and then you waste time. Okay, so let me rather put it this way. When it gets to, let's say, for instance, analytical geometry, I know you're writing paper 1 tomorrow, but if you, for instance, miss that first question, it's going to be really hard or challenging to answer the other questions. But if you, for instance, question 1 of paper 1, most of those questions are not where you need the previous answer. It's like loose questions. The first one is maybe factorize. The second one is maybe roots or stuff like that. Third one is maybe simultaneous equation. Second one is maybe exponential type of question, where they solve for x basically. So none of them are linked to each other. So if you start with 1.1, move to 1.2. Just leave a gap, then you can move on to the next one. Next one, the whole paper like that. And then if you have enough time, then you can come back. Okay, but just keep in mind that you still have a few questions. So for those who have just joined us, we're doing a quick Q&A session. If you have questions and tips, I do share some math exam tips from my guide, Just Pass Math, a success guide for parents and students. So if you have any questions, you can drop as well. But we're not doing revision where you're going to ask, okay, how do I do simultaneous equations? How do I do this? No, it's not that, okay? Yeah, so the next, skip that question and come back to it if you've got time. Yeah, so that's what I say. Somebody's asked tips on level 4 tips on level 4 questions. Yeah, so the tips are exactly the same. It is from a guide, so it's basically universal, like math tips. But somebody asked for what grade? Well, the tips that I'm sharing is you can basically use it for all the grades, okay? But we specifically aiming at grade 12 students that are writing paper 1 tomorrow. But we're not doing anything specific today, like how do you do simultaneous equations, how do you get the equation of that? No, not today, okay? We're going to start doing revision tomorrow. Yeah, the next point here is I wrote it in bold letters. Let me see if I can flip the screen like mirrors something. Let me just see. Mirror video. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so one of the things that I do put in bold here is, you'll see here, it is sleep, okay? So enough sleep, because sometimes you want to take you to, you're doing too much, okay? And then tomorrow when you wake up, or you never go to bed, because I remember when I used to study ISA, there were days, and some of you guys are doing it, where you don't rest enough, okay, sleep. So it's important that you want fresh eyes tomorrow, and especially for paper 2, because paper 2 is Euclidean geometry. If there's a lot of lines and stuff, tomorrow you're going to see graphs and other stuff. So rest is important. Sleep specifically. Sleep early if you can, if you're done with the question paper. And yeah, so you also don't want to change your routine. Okay, so if you sleep at 8 o'clock every night, you want to go to bed at 8. Okay. Somebody asked here, is it necessary to show all the steps? Example, cross multiplying. Yes, I will say yes, especially if you don't know where to show the steps. If you don't know where to show the steps for instance, cross multiplying, do it, okay? Include all your steps. The worst that can happen is you not including the steps and losing a mark. Somebody asked, is this a pure or maths lit live chat? It's general, okay? So it's all the tips that I do share in my book. It's math, so it's math. But we are not aiming at a specific chapter and floor plans or all of those things. Or we're going to do it on papers. So sleep, yes, is important that you actually want to rest and sleep as well. Okay, the next one is rest well and divide your long study hours. Yes, so this is something that you maybe want to do earlier, like maybe not today because you want to work through a question paper or question paper and a half, or maybe just work through a few of those sections. Okay, I just need to refresh my memory, I want to do this, or maybe work through scan through your notes and stuff like that. I think yeah, scan through your notes. That's what you want to do maybe tonight before you go to bed. Or tomorrow morning while you have your breakfast. But there's something very important that I'm going to share that you maybe don't want to do just before you write. So this is everything before you write your final paper. Maybe you want to scan before you go to bed tonight. Okay, just scan through your notes. Okay, there's your book, and then you can just scan through it, just look at it, because I promise you tomorrow you're gonna let's say for instance work through a question paper and they're like, what is that formula, or what is that thing, what is the equation of this? Then you'll see that picture. Okay, I remember it was here in green, or it was, if you have a mind map or something. So yeah, so that's what you want to maybe do tonight. You work through a question paper, and then just before you go to bed, just before you pray, before you go to bed, you want to scan through your notes. Okay. Somebody asked here, are you in South Africa? Yes, I am in South Africa. Hello, all the way from Cape Town. We don't have any load shedding until 10 o'clock tonight. Somebody asked, and how is trigonometry? Washington. This is a question from Washington. So this is paper, trigonometry is Monday, okay? I'm not sure what you mean by how is trigonometry. But yeah, so for those who have just joined us, we're not doing anything specific in terms of working through a question, question 1.2, this is how you do it. I'm just sharing some tips, so you're more than welcome to share this live, double tap the screen so that more students can see it. So somebody asked, I find trig very complex. Yes, we can deal with that tomorrow. We're going to have a session where we're going to work through trigonometry questions, analytical, and whatever that was on that list. I had a poll a few times, and then I asked the students, okay, what do we do? What do you want to do? Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the likes. Yes, let's do that. So rest well and divide your long study hours. So the last point here is, on exam day, make use of my two golden rules. There's certain students that they don't know the stuff, okay? Then they want to check, how do you know this? There's always that one. How do you do this again? How do you do this? Do you take this square root? Oh, yes. Stay away from those students, okay? Stay away from those students. They're going to make you nervous. You're going to explain something, and then I'm just giving you some of the things that can happen. There's always that one student. You know that student, okay? If it's Jeremy, if it's Washington, is it Masmoud? Is it Masmoud? Is it Kels? Okay, it's Kels. I'm going to stay away from you because you like to ask questions. I'm quickly going to go to the toilet. Yeah, so. Then, do you have tips on how to be consistent with maths? Obviously, consistency is the key. You practice it every day, okay? When you get the time. So, there's a funny story. I remember first year university math. Then my lecturer used to say, look, you know what, so this is for those who don't know, quickly when you go to your room, quickly do this example, integration or whatever, quickly do this in your dorm room, and then you go have lunch or whatever, and you quickly, when you go to the toilet, before you go to the toilet, do a quick one, continue with it. Yeah, so that's it. Dr. Ash is saying, great advice. Thank you very much. Jamie, share the live. Thank you. Jamal just joined us. Yeah, so this is some of the tips I do share out of my guide, okay? So yeah, that's the first thing. That's the one golden rule. The other golden rule is 30 minutes before you go write your paper is try to relax, okay? Try to take a walk. This is now before you go into your exam room, okay, and have a seat. So just try to, I know it's really challenging because you keep on thinking, okay, you're trying to not memorize, but look at things, visualizing your mind map somewhere in your head. I know it's challenging, but try to relax. And like I said, you want to stay away from those people that always have questions before. They never had questions the whole year. Now suddenly they want to know, how do I do this? Now is another question from CLB. He asked, do you think as a grade 11 learner I should do grade 12 past papers? Okay, so I will say depends on what your syllabus is saying, what you guys did this year in class. But I know grade 11, for instance, there's grade 11, obviously there's grade 11 work in grade 12. This is all the functions, this is hyperbola, all of those stuff. So those type of questions you'll be able to do. And maybe question 1, I think, question 1, yeah. So question 1, I think you'll be able to, most of the questions you'll be able to do. So yes, go do it. Somebody, Lungani asks, what are your predictions for tomorrow's paper? It's going to be tough. Yeah, you're gonna cut. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I think it's going to. I don't know. It's always a surprise. But if you know your work, then it will be easy. Okay, but don't think of it. I know it sounds cheesy, and you've probably heard it. Like, just go in with a positive vibe. Like, you're gonna be nervous, but if you have to fake it, go in and say, I know this stuff. Go in with that mindset. I know this stuff. Okay, I can nail this paper. Okay. So yeah. So let me just see if I miss anything else. else? Yeah, so those are my 2 golden rules when it comes to inside exam. Yeah, outside and inside the exam room. I've said that you should take an extra calculator if possible. If not, don't worry about it. Night before, okay, I've covered that. I just read some of the bullet points at the back because I have the summary here at the back, so I just went through the bullet points. But it's basically stuff that you can apply in every paper, every subject. Yeah, so I think it's too late to start. No, yeah, so one of the sections is too late to start. I don't think so. That, like, when I talk about start, is working through question paper. I think I've mentioned it in the beginning of this live, where you have enough time maybe for one more question paper and then just scanning through your notes. That's what I would do. I would work through one question paper. If you've done all of it, like somebody said, I'm not sure, said that she worked through 21 question papers already, of probably for the year. So yeah, if you want to work through maybe a few questions out of you got from somewhere, but work through the questions with the memo. Okay, if you don't have the memo, just get rid of it, or if you don't have the answer to that question, just get rid of it. Okay, any other questions? Please let me know. We're gonna do tomorrow. We're gonna start. Not sure what time. I have to look at my schedule again. But the best that we're gonna do paper 2 revision. But if you feel there's any section that you want to do for tomorrow, please. I know you have to focus on tomorrow's paper, but if you have time, just drop a comment in one of my videos. I will definitely check out the my socials. Okay. Okay, let's see. Thank you very much for sharing. Yeah, so this is what I'm gonna say. You can unfollow me after the exams, but follow me because I don't want to set out a live, make an appointment, like when you usually do that appointments thing here on live, and then I don't want to do that because of load shedding and other stuff as well. Like yesterday I was going to do a revision, but I had a meeting, a very important meeting. Let's see. Thank you for following. So yeah, follow, and then you will get a notification when I go live. Okay, guys, I have next 7 minutes. I'm leaving. If there's some tip that you want, not specifically aiming at how can I do this problem or that problem, like somebody else, for instance, somebody else, and how is trig, but this is not trigonometry. But yeah, no, somebody else. Is it necessary to show all the steps? Example, cross multiplying. This is a question from Lycée Dile. So then I said, okay, if you're not sure, it's best to add it. Okay, tips for on question 12. Question 12, probability. That's the last question. Yeah, so I think question 12 is probability, probably. There's a question from Oakland. So that's, I'm not sure what syllabus or you, I assume you South Africa. But the last question is usually probability. Like, this is the thing, this is why you need fresh eyes, and this is why you need to be well rested, and this is why I say sleep. Sleep is, if your time is 9 o'clock on a usual basis, do the 9 o'clock. Don't go and push yourself till 1 o'clock. Tomorrow morning you're tired, then it's going to be over for you. Okay, you might fall asleep, get blackouts. So yeah, so probability, like this is word problems, and I'm not even sure if this is mathlet, but in general, like probability, there's a lot of reading involved. It's almost like Afrikaans, like languages, English, Afrikaans, Xhosa. We need fresh eyes, because sometimes you read something and then you get lost and then you have to read it over. Okay, and read critically, it's important. Best to read it twice. Hidden, and also with calculus. Okay. Some Cobra Kai vra, het oom geletterdheid video's? Ongelukkig nie, want ons kry nie baie vrae van geletterdheid wiskunde. Baie min mense gevra. Het een persoon het hierdie jaar of twee persone het hierdie jaar gevra. Maar hulle het net gesê geletterdheid wiskunde. Maar hulle was nie baie spesifiek en gesê vloerplanne of oms wat ook al die geval was. Then any Ali KD asks, what time are you going to live? It's best if you follow me. I'm not begging follows. You can unfollow me after Monday if you're done with your exams. It's best if you follow me. In this way, you get notified when I go live. Okay, but most of the times it's after 4 o'clock, after 3:30. Okay, tomorrow's Friday, so you're writing tomorrow till 12. Or 1 o'clock, whatever the case may be, and then so obviously I don't want to say okay 2 o'clock because your brain is still in paper 1 at paper 1, so we're going to do always 3:30 after 3:30. Now Washington is asking, is it okay to sleep late at 4 before writing at 4 before writing? Yeah, so my advice is don't change your sleep patterns. If your body is used to waking up at or go to bed at 10 o'clock or let's say 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, but the important thing is you want to be well rested. I'm not sure what is your definition of well rested, but you want to wake up tomorrow really fresh. Cobra Kai sê ek verstaan die formules, maar ek sukkel met die vraag reg interpreteer. Enige tips? Ja, soos ek nou gesê het, jy wil krities jou goeters wil jy lees, okay? Krities lees elke woord wat daar is. Jy wil enige woord mis nie. Dis hoekom rus so baie belangrik is, okay? Is hier een ding wat ek nou nie ingesluit het hierdie is, of wat ek gesê het hier is, ja, moenie enige vrae uitlos nie, okay? Los dit eerder uit, as jy dit nie kan verstaan nie, dan kan jy weer terugkom. Let me repeat that in English. Like, don't skip any questions, okay? You can always skip it, but come back, okay? But don't be like, I don't know this, put it in. There's a funny story. I will never forget this story. So, in physics, so this is a physics joke, right? Not a physics joke, but this happened in my physics class. This was in grade 11, where Newton's formulas Newton's laws was introduced, and my physics teacher said, I remember he said, everything is Newton first. So Newton's second law. And Newton's second law is F equals ma, okay? Force is equal to mass multiplied by acceleration. And this is what he said. I remember he said this. Everything is Newton's second law. And then there was this one boy, and when we got a question, and I on this sheet back, he wrote F equals ma in in every question. I will never forget that. Okay, so lees jy goed, kan ek sê kritiese leeswerk is baie belangrik, veral by, ek dink jy het gevra van die wiskundige geletterdheid. So ja, Chris, Cobra, hopelijk maak dit sin wat ek nou gesê het. Somebody say, do you recommend cross-nighting when having to write the next day? Cross-nighting? What the hell is cross-nighting? You mean like no sleep? Like, I'm not sure about that. It's not a good thing. You want to be well rested. If you've done it before, the thing is you don't want to make any changes in your sleeping patterns. If you went to bed for the past 6 months or 3 months at 8 o'clock, you don't want to go to bed at 2 o'clock tomorrow morning, because you have to wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock to take the bus to school or whatever the case may be. Somebody say, what if you're not ready to write? Should you still sleep when you are writing the next day? Yeah, I think in general, when there's a test and exams, and even in life, like for instance, I always make use sport examples. Like, you can practice this much, but anything can happen on race day. We used to say as marathons, anything can happen on race day. You might be the fittest guy, the cleverest person, but anything can happen on exam day, okay? So should you still go? What you're going to do for the next few hours will help a little bit, okay? But it won't help you to cover the whole year syllabus. it's going to be challenging to study, to revise a chapter, for instance, a whole big chapter. Let's say, for instance, functions. Okay, functions is a huge section. Grade 11 teachers spend maybe 2-3 months on that chapter because it's a huge section, and working through that, it's going to help you because you're going to figure out stuff, but you might neglect the stuff, or lose out on the stuff that you could have revised and refresh your memory to apply those concepts tomorrow. But you don't want to mess with your sleeping patterns. Okay, what else, guys? Because I have to leave in the next 5 minutes. I'm going to give it 5 more minutes. Anything else, guys? Let me know. Just remember to follow so that you can get notified when I go live tomorrow, because we're definitely going to do revision paper 2. And also my ring light is going to switch off. Okay, guys, good luck for tomorrow. All of the best. And remember, for the next 2.5 days, we're going to do some paper 2 revision. Comment on the... It's going to switch off now, anytime. Comment on... Let me do this. Drop a comment if you have to in one of my videos, or I think it's best if you... I think TikTok still have that Q&A, okay? And then you can ask specific section. Let's say, for instance, trigonometry, general solution. Drop that comment and then we can do that paper, work through more exam type of questions for that one. This is the last question I'm going to answer. Lebo Gang is asking, what are the tips for calculating the equation of parabola given 2 points? Okay, so that is very specific. I suggest you... I don't want to say anything now because you're being very specific, not because I don't want to. But hopefully you followed me for the past 30 minutes now, where I say, okay, I don't want to say anything about explaining how to do this, how to do that. So you know what your problem is. So now you have to go to that section where they ask you to calculate the equation of the parabola given 2 points. Okay, guys, hope not, guys, hurt your feelings, but that's just how it is for now. Guys, all of the best for tomorrow. I know you're gonna achieve all your goals because you've worked so hard for the past 4, 5, 6 years to get what you want. Okay, and just remember to stay positive, and if you believe you're gonna not succeed, then you won't succeed. It's almost like driving a car. You know, when people drive and they see a cat and then they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna drive into the cat, and then poof, and then, or they drive onto something else. Okay, but it's a very bad example, but this is basically what I want to say. Whatever the mind conceive and believe, the mind will achieve. So if you're going to believe that you're going to go and ace that paper tomorrow, knowing that you study really hard and you got your codes all year, you know what your potential is in tomorrow's paper, to complete all of those questions or some of it, or the goal is obviously to complete all of it. And then then you just go with that positive mindset, and hopefully the tips that I just shared here, it's gonna help. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hopefully TikTok upload. Well, it's gonna take a few hours now for TikTok to upload this video, but if so, I'm gonna post it also on my YouTube channel. Yeah, and if there's anything else, maybe you'll find it on my YouTube channel. There's a playlist on my TikTok for grade 12 as well, and grade 11, so because basically for all the grades, if you click on it, maybe you'll see something that you maybe need to refresh your memory with. Okay, guys, have to go now. All of the best. Good luck. You can do this. You can do this.